Want to learn how to draw Celtic knotwork? Using Iain Bain's method, I'll break it down step by step, making it easy to follow, and just grab a pencil and eraser and let's get started. Full disclosure, this is my first time. We are starting on chapter 1 by looking at, it's a repeating pattern from the Lindisfarne Gospels. I can never find what I'm looking for in all these drawers. And I would say the basic materials for this project would be a pencil, an eraser, and grid paper. I have grid paper that is 4 squares per inch, and it's actually larger than the grid system in this book. You will need a pencil and eraser though, and I did use a different color pen for the grid system. It is their likeness to loosely knotted cords which has given the name knotwork to these peculiarly Celtic interlacing patterns. The author of this book, Iain Bain, he actually picked up the torch where his father left off with the goals of explaining how to draw them more easily. I think this book doesn't necessarily go into the history about Celtic knotwork. It actually shows you how to draw them. And this is my first attempt, and I figured I'm learning, why not share it with you? So follow along, and thanks for being here. I think any grid paper will work. It does make it a little more confusing, so I just decided to break it down like this and not be too strict with straight lines to try to figure out the grid system. 12 horizontally, 4 vertically, and then I separated them into quadrants with this purple pen. Honestly, I don't know if that even matters. What matters is you start out with these squares that are diamonds basically, and you repeat this pattern right here. I actually got really excited here and thought I figured it all out and created these diamonds all the way across. Well, don't do what I did, because you're just going to end up erasing it. I feel like I had some difficulty working from left to right. That was really hard for me to figure out, and you could see me trying to work it out. What I came to figure out was it was basically 4 diamonds that created an X. All diagonals within the square grid, connecting points. But if you see, it kind of, well, it looks like all X's or a weaving texture. The directions say draw the grid, mark off the margin for the center, spot the quarter points all around inside of the margin, and draw the diagonals parallel to the grid. I'm not sure if all that wordy business made sense to you, but I'm a visual learner, and this is how I made sense of it. Notice not striving for perfection right now, just learning how to do it is first. Going to make mistakes, it's fine. We're just getting the basic of how to do a Celtic knotwork. Now we're going to extend those diagonals, which will meet at the grid lines. They do so at the quarter points. Draw the outer curves of the chords, merging those at the ends into the border. Avoid kinks or reverse curves. So here I am extending those diagonals. That's what I'm doing first, which ends up making a series of larger diamonds. A lot of thought as to where the next lines go. I thought this would be easier because it had a grid, but it's actually creating the grid is really challenging for me, and I don't know if I'm like slightly dyslexic. I'm not sure if this would be helpful, but I thought I'd give you another angle to look at it. Doing the same thing from the last clip, which is extending the quarter points. Here I am extending the design so that way I have some uniformity, all big diamonds. There was 9 in total when I was done. Now where we extended those diagonals, we are going to draw the outer curves of the chords, merging those at the ends into the border. Avoid kinks or reverse curves. The ends were a little tricky, for sure. I didn't know how to tackle that. I also cut the boxes in the upper axis in half to extend the curves to. You could see that line, and then I draw another one on the bottom for the bottom ones. It's just halfway through the upper axis I drew a line so that way I knew where to stop the curves. This is also due to the fact that I have a different size grid paper. The ruler, I'm actually going to use it, but you can't see me because you're looking at my head. Sorry. I did try to freehand it and it was looking ugly, so. But again, I just threw the lower axis, the 4th row of boxes, slice that in half so that I knew where to extend the curve to. Now it says to draw the inner curves, maintaining chord thickness. Complete the corners with short, straight lines. Erase lines to form a plate. The overlap order reverses from one axis to the next. Oh my gosh. Now if those outer bends are curves or chords, that means that the inner needs to match that chord thickness. If you think of those outer curves as chords, we need to shape that. Instead of it being, we need to make a little curve there. I got a little confused with the outer edge. It's okay, we'll figure that out later. But for right now, we're going to create the inner curves to go along with the chords. And now just a little bit of cleanup to avoid any confusion. This is optional. And get your eraser, because now we're going to erase lines so that they look like they're weaving. You're to erase the lines to form a plate. The overlap order reverses from one axis to the next. If you see, it's like one big candy cane on top. I don't know how else to explain it, with a hook, and it goes down and I erase that. And then on the bottom, it's the opposite. You'll just have to visually follow along. At the same time, while I'm erasing and figuring this out, I'm also cleaning up my lines, making them a little darker to differentiate what's going over and under, etc. The main thing of the Celtic knotwork is how it interweaves within itself. If you like random how-to videos on fun, creative things like this, I also talk about art and literature, and I love to create and combine the two. If you like that sort of thing, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the bell so you know every time I upload a new video. As I'm editing this video, I see in the third box from the right, there's an error. It's, like I said, if the bottoms are like V's or J's, the third box, I thought I could point it out here. I don't even know if you notice it, but it does get very confusing with these knots. I really enjoyed the process though. If you'd like to see me do more, I would love to do that. Leave me a comment and we could do another one. Hey, why not? But I was going to use this for a design for another video, so stay tuned for that. To be more specific, it's the third box from the right on the lower axis. Can you spot it? You know I'm going to stop what I'm doing right now, hook up the camera, and fix it because it's bugging me. BRB. I just fixed the errors. I just wanted to show you. This is what I mean by the J. J. The only difference is at the end. It's handled differently. And let's go to the top. We have this hook. Like I said, with the ends it's a little different, but candy cane, candy cane. Also, I'm not sure if you noticed, but there was an extra section that is left here, but I cannot do it because my grid paper is too large. So I am gonna scan this, import it into Fresco, and you'll have to come back for part 2 where we will do the next step and implement this Celtic knot design work to a piece of art. And this has been fun. If you enjoyed this and you want to see another one, I would be happy to do that. Leave a comment. Until next time, thanks for joining me on my epic art journey at Web of Pen.